Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, is my screen is visible?
Yes, sir.
Let me check the live feed. Is it? Okay. So today what we are going to do is that we are going to do something called as iterations or loops. Okay. So we'll first learn what are these loops and what are the things required for the loop, and then we'll go to the actual code of the loop in Python. Now the concept of the loop or iterations is same for all programming languages. The code might change for different languages. So if you go to Java, C++, the code will be different, but the concept of loops is going to remain the same. So objectives of this lecture is understanding indefinite and definite loop. The indefinite loop means number of iterations or how many times this loop is going to repeat itself is not defined. Okay, that is kind of a dynamic. It depending on the situation, the number of times the loop will be executed. A definite loop will be a loop where inside the program itself, how many times the loop will be repeated is written. So like we can decide that a particular code should repeat itself 5 times. So that is a definite loop. But suppose we take an indefinite loop will depend on the a specific kind of condition in the during the program. So in one specific run of that program, loop might run for 4 times, and another run the loop might run for 10 times. So depending on the one run to another, things might change. So that is indefinite and definite loops. Then we'll understand two commands called as break and continue. They are used to modify this execution of the loops. So what are iterations or loops? Many times computers are used to perform identical or similar tasks in a repetitive manner. Unlike human beings, they are good at it and never get bored. So if you ask the computer to repeat a particular task 10,000 times, the computer has no problem to do that. The repetitive tasks are called iterations. So this particular task which is getting repeated, each execution of this specific task is called iteration, and these repeated tasks are called as iterations. Okay. As iterations are so common, computer languages like Python provide many features to make it easier. So iterations are very common to the computer programming languages. That's why all programming languages, including Python, provides many features to make it easier for the user to create a loop. Now there are two types of iterations, as I said. One is definite, another is indefinite. A definite is somewhere the number of iterations, a number of times the loop will be executed is already defined. Indefinite is something where number of times the loop will be or number of iterations is not defined in the program. So for a definite type of loops are basically called as for loops, and indefinite loop is called as while loop. So while loop and for, there are two types of loops in Python, for loop and while loop. Now how the flow chart will look like. I think everyone is clear with the flow chart. Flow chart is a pictorial form of the way the program will follow the execution. Okay. Hello.
Yes,
Is this flow chart is clear, right? So
yes,
program will come to a point where there is a condition. Now, depending on the result of this condition, we are seeing what does the condition mean and what is the result of the condition. Result of the execution of a condition is always true value or false value. If condition is true, then block of statements will be executed. After that, the program will go back to the condition, and again it will check the condition again. And if the condition is still true, again it will go back to the same block and it will execute again. and this process will continue till the condition become false. Okay, as soon as the condition become false, the program will come outside the block and execute the rest of the program. Is this clear? The loops?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for loops, the condition has to be true for some time, and at some instant the condition has to become a false. Then and then the program can come out of this loop. Okay. So over the iterations, means over the execution of this block, one or more variable associated with the condition. Okay, so condition will have some variables associated inside the condition. One of the condition, one or more variables associated with the condition should change their values over the iterations to finally get out of the loop. Because if if variables associated with the condition remain the same, then if condition is true at the first time, the condition will remain true for the rest of the times. So we don't want that, because at some instant computer should come out of this loop. Okay, so these variables associated with the condition should change their value in the execution. So every iteration, value of the variable will change, okay, associated with the condition. And then after few loops or few iterations, that variable value will be such a way that condition will become false and the computer will come outside. It will run the rest of the program. Okay, these variables are called as loop variables or iteration variable. Okay, the variables associated with this condition are called as loop variables or iteration variables. Now, as we have already seen that this iteration variable need to be updated or their values need to be changed, we need to have a specific command or specific statement inside the block where this particular variable will be changed or it will get updated. So let's see how it can be done. So let's consider that there is in a particular loop, a iteration variable is x. So we can write x is equal to x plus 1. So what is happening here is that as soon as the block is getting executed, x value is getting increased by 1. Is it clear? When the next time the block will be executed, the x value will be increased by one more value. So suppose initial value of the x is 0. After the first iteration, the x value will become 1. After the second iteration, x value will become 2. After third, it will become 3, like that. This is called incrementing. So you are incrementing the value of x by 1. You can increment the value of x by 2 or 3 or 4. It's up to you. Now this incrementation is very much required for the loops. So we have a shorthand writing for this incrementation operations. It is written as x plus equal to 1. So whenever you write x plus equal to 1, it simply means that it is equivalent to x is equal to x plus 1. Is it clear? Plus equal to is called as augmented assignment operator. So it's an operator. It is called as augmented assignment operator. It does both the job. It takes the value of x, add 1 to that, and then assign this value to the x again. Okay. Now similarly, we have different type of augmented assignment operators. Just like plus equal to, we have a minus equal to, which is nothing but equivalent to x is equal to x minus 1. We also have x multiplied or star equal to 2. That means x is equal to x multiplied by 2. We can have x double star equal to 2. Now here augmentation operator is double star equal to. That is nothing but x is equal to x double star equal to 2. Similarly, we have x divided by equal to 5, x mod equal to 7. So if mods equal to is similar like plus equal to or minus equal. Okay. So let's go ahead and now let's look at actual code for the loop, and we'll put this augmented assignment operator on some variable inside the loop so that in a specific iteration, the condition will become false. Okay, let's take a first loop called as while loop. Now while loop is a indefinite loop. So how many times the iteration will happen is many times cannot be predicted in advance. So the code for the while loop is like this: while condition colon. The colon says that a block related to while is going to come next. From the next line, the block is going to come. And how the block is indicated by one indent towards right. So all statement inside the block will be always shifted by one indent. towards left, right. Okay, the loop will be executed till this particular condition is true. As soon as the condition becomes false, the program will come outside this while loop. So let's take a program. It says that x is equal to none, where n is capital, while x is not equal to 0. And then inside the while loop, the block says x is equal to input, enter the integer number. Then we are converting that x string to x integer, and then we are printing x on the screen. And then again we are going back to the first line, and this we are keep on doing it till the user enters integer 0. So if user enters non-zero values, the computer will keep on running this while loop. As soon as the user enters 0, the computer will come outside of the while loop. Once the computer come outside the while loop, what computer will do? Can anyone tell me?
Print end.
Print
Print
end.
end. Yeah. And how we came to know that print end is outside the block? It has no indent. Yeah, it has no indent, right? It is just like while. It is just exactly below the W of the while. So there is no indent. That means it is not part of the block, right? Good. So let's see the output. So right now I'm putting in the PPT itself, but we'll run this type of program in the actual software. So we have entered 3, we got 3. Then again it will go to the next iteration. Again it will ask enter the integer. Suppose we enter 56, it will give you output as 56. Now suppose you enter 0, it will give you output at 0, and then it will come outside, because then it will go to the while part. Then it will say, oh, x is equal to 0, and the condition is false, so it will come outside. This is clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. So let's look at the program here. So I'll write the program directly in the text file, editor file. So let me write first the comment. This program is used to introduce is used to introduce what? While loop. Okay, one line I'm going to keep separate. Then I'll say integer is equal to none. Now what does this none means is that I'm creating a variable called as integer, but I'm not providing any value to that. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, so let's see what is this none means. So I'm going to the console. So let me write x is equal to none. Okay, so you can see the type is none type, size is 1, and the value is none type object. So basically it's a blank memory location. So computer just reserve a memory location and label it as x, but right now computers don't know what you're going to store. Are you going to store integer, or are you going to store a float number, or are you going to store a string? Computer is not bothered about it. It is just reserve a memory location for you and label it as x. Okay, why I have done integer is equal to none is that when I write first command while x is not equal to 0, okay, colon, enter. Whenever it goes from line number 4 to 5, first time it will check whether the x is equal to 0 or not. So we don't want that at any cost x should be equal to 0, because if I write integer equal to 0, not x, sorry, integer is not equal to 0. So we don't want that. By no means the integer should be equal to 0 even before we go to the while loop. Okay, so now I'll write integer is equal to int. I'm writing both the commands together here. Int input bracket, enter a int number colon, sorry, and then we'll say print integer, right? And now I want to come outside the loop. I'll say print okay. Okay. Now let me run this program. Now understand, it totally depends on the user at what instant the user is going to enter 0. So how many times this particular block of 2 lines in 6 and 7 are going to execute it is not known in advance. That's why it is indefinite. So let me write the first value, say 45. So we got a 45, then 78, we got a 78. Once I enter 0, we get end, right? This is clear?
Yes, sir.
If I write by mistake, suppose integer is equal to 0, what do you think what will happen? What will be the output? What do you think? What will
directly end?
Because while loop is going to see the condition before it goes to the block. Okay, so end, because it says okay, integer is anyway equal to 0. So let me come, and for that reason I should put a value which is non-zero. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just keep my finger crossed and I'm going to say let me put as none. So just let me create a variable called integer and not talk about it at all. That way you are allowing integer to be anything. It can be a string, it can be a float or anything. So depending on the rest of the program, integer is considered as float, string or complex number. So this first statement can remain common, doesn't matter whatever you change in the rest of the program. Okay, so this is clear, right? While loop. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's go ahead. So here in the PPT, I made a mistake. That last statement, print, the P is capital. I think it has an auto correction. Print P is capital. That should be small. Okay, so let me take one more thing. Let me say x is equal to 0, while x is not less than or equal to 5, colon, print x. Now what I'm doing is that I am degrading this while loop. Here what I'm doing is that I am making sure that the while loop, even though it is indefinite loop, I'm making it kind of a definite loop, because I know x started from 0. I'm adding 1 to that, and I want the loop will be executed till x is less than or equal to. So this way, the way the code is written, I am already deciding how many times I want the iteration to execute, right? Here it is acting like a definite loop. Can you see here? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Even the while loop is basically used for indefinite loops, you can easily convert it to definite loops. So the way the code is written here, number of iteration is already defined in the program. So output will be like this. You will get 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there should be one more statement, end. Okay, this is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me write one more thing. Okay, we'll write that one later. Now we'll go to the next loop called as for loop. So how the for loop is written? For loop is a definite loop. So you have to provide the set where the for loop going to execute. So code of the for loop is like this: for target in sequence, colon, and the block which will get executed. Now what is a target? Target is like a pointer which is going to point in the sequence. So what is a sequence? Sequence is a set of variables. So it can be integer variables, it can be string variables, or it can be complex variables, or it can be float variable, doesn't matter. But target is something which is going to point at each variable inside the sequence. So sequence is simply a set of variables. Now let's see how to create first the sequence in a simple format, and then we'll see how the target can be used to point inside the sequence. So sequence is already a defined set, so it is a definite set. So as it is a definite set and target is going in that sequence, till the target is inside the sequence, the for loop will get executed. Okay, as soon as target goes to the end of the sequence, for loop will stop at the end. So let's consider the simple command called as range to create a sequence. So what we are going to do is that range is a command which is used to create a set of integers. And what is a command? Command says range bracket with 3 variables. First one is start, second one is end, and third one is step. So if you write range 0, 10, 2, what do you think what will be the output? Output will be 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and the end is always excluded. End is never included in the range. So when you say 10, 10 is always excluded. So it goes from 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and end is 10. So we'll stop at that point, at 8 only. You won't go to 10. And the step size is 2. So starting point is 0, end point is 10, which is not included in the sequence. Okay, and the step size over which the set is going to get created is basically 2. Is it clear, this part, range?
Can you explain the end part, sir, again?
See, the range has 2 parts, start and end. Now range is always going to exclude end. So if you look at the sequence is 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and the next point should be 10. But because 10 is also end, it is excluded.
Okay, sir.
I'll show you on the computer.
Sir,
Huh?
Sir, if suppose I want this in the reverse order, then I should write 10, 0, minus 2, right?
Let's see. We'll type it on the Python in terminal. Okay. There is one more code, similar type of code. If you write range 5, because you are writing only one integer value, the start and step are considered by default. Start is 0 and step is 1. As soon as I write range only single value, the start is automatically considered as 0 and step is automatically considered as 1. So if you write range 5, it considers that you are starting from 0, going with 1 step and ending at 5. Okay, so the question just now one student has asked, we'll look at that question also. So range, let me write here 0, 4, 7. Yeah, I understand what is happening. It is not printing individual element. It is just saying ki range 0, 4. So let me assign this one. X is equal to okay, it's saying range object. That is okay. So it's creating a set, but if I try to print X, it's just showing me range 0, 4. So it is not printing individually. It is just saying it is a range 0, 4. Hello. The way I have shown on this PPT, it is not printing that way, but it is that way only. And one student has a question. So let me see range. So if I write 4, 0, 1, let me see what happens. Range 4, 0. So you don't have to write -1. Hello.
Yes, sir.
You don't have to write -1. Even if you write 1, it is considered that because starting is greater than end point, it will decrement from 4. So let's see how it looks like. So let me write X is equal to range 4, okay. What we'll do, we'll write a program itself. So you got the thing, this is a sequence. Now what we'll do, we'll write a program where we are going to print this sequence. Hello.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I will write X is equal to range. Okay. Let me write for 0, 4, 1. Okay. Now what I'm taking is 0, 1, 2, 3. Now I'll write next code for. Wait, let me. This is the program to understand. See, every time I'm writing this statement so that you guys will write this type of statements when you will create your own programs. That's why every time I'm taking care that I write the title of the program clearly, because you might write 10 programs now and 2 months down the line you will wonder what is this program is all about. I don't want that. So I'll write for. Now I'll write the program for I in what? X, where X is a sequence. Then I'll say print bracket I, and then we'll say print happy ending, right? And that is okay. Okay. So let's run this program and we get output as 0, 1, 2, 3 and n. This is clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I write here as 2, let me write this as say 10, 0 to 10, comma 2. So starting point is 0, end point is 10, which is not included, and 2 is the step size. If I run this program, I get 0, 2, 4, 6, 8 and n. Suppose I write here 11. What do you think what will happen? 0 to 11. Step size is 2.
0 to 10.
Right, because now 10 is no more an endpoint. So if it comes in the sequence, it will be shown on the screen. 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 11 is always excluded, but doesn't matter to us because 11 is anyway not an even number. So it won't come in the sequence.
So can we write the for loop without writing the sequence?
Without writing a
Sequence.
But you need a sequence now, because for loop is a definite one. So you have to tell the for loop how you're going to execute, how many times you're going to execute. So here we are saying you're going to execute from equal to the range. You cannot run without a sequence. A for loop you cannot run the for loop without a sequence.
Okay.
Now the next question.
Sir,
Huh?
our doubt कि what would happen कि after writing the range, instead of writing the for loop, we would just print x. Then what will happen?
Okay, we'll see that also. Okay, let me write 2 more statements, then we'll look at the point you are raising. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Or let me write here x in the print x is. So now we are printing x also before the for. That is okay. So now I'm taking x is equal to range 11. So I am asking the computer to go from 0 to 11 with a step size 1, exclude 11. Control L. Now let's run. So basically it simply says x is equal to range 0, 11. Instead of printing all the elements, it says range 0, 11. So whenever you get the statement like range bracket 0, 11, it means that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 is excluded.
Okay, sir. Okay.
And here what is happening in the for loop is that we are printing each element separately. So every element from the sequence, I is going to every value in the x. So it will go to 0 and I will become 0. So whenever we say print I, the first value will be printed 0. Then again it will go to the for statement. That time I is incremented by 1. So I go to the next value, which is 1. Then we say print I. So that is 1 is printed. Then I will go to the next value, which is 2. So it will print that value. Like that, the I will always point to one of the values. So as soon as I is pointing to that value, I will take that value. So whenever we say print I, the value of that particular element of the sequence will be printed. Hello? Hello?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. Here you can also use arrays, but I am right now not showing those arrays because Thursday, Friday, Saturday batch has not done the practical related to Python. So they are not introduced, they are not acquainted with the arrays of NumPy. You can use NumPy as a sequence, NumPy array as a sequence and work with that. There are few more variable types, compound variable types called as list, tuples. That also you can use here. So there are also sequence of variables. So you can use that, and you can say for I in that particular list or a tuple. But as we are not acquainted with tuple and list, I'm not showing here. But when we'll go for a tuple and list, I can show you that for loop can be used with a tuple and list instead of X. Is it clear this part? Hello?
sir.
Okay, so now one student had a question 11, 0, 1. So my starting point is greater than the end point. Now let's run the program.
सही है सर, सही है.
Suppose I put a minus sign. Yeah, so we need to have a minus sign as an increment, right? So I was wrong. I thought that giving 1 is okay, but it is not happening here. So I have to put a -1. So it goes from 11 to 1. But now understand the 0 is excluded because 0 is the endpoint. So 0 is excluded. So endpoint is always excluded. Is it clear? Hello, the student who asked this question.
Yes,
is
sir.
it okay? This is clear to you now? Okay. Now I'll show you one more thing. Yeah. Now I can say that. So let me call one more variable. Name is equal to मैं किसी का तो नाम ले लेता हूँ Sheldon. Okay, so I'm writing Sheldon. Name is equal to Sheldon. So I'm creating a string Sheldon. Now when you create a string, what is a string? String is made up of characters, right? So there is a S, there is a H, there is a E, right? Hello.
Sir.
So
Yes, sir.
you can look at a string is nothing but a sequence of small strings. So there is a S, which is a string of single character. There is a H, which is a string of single character. So you can look at a name, which is itself is a string, is a sequence of strings. So I can use that also here. So if I say I in name, now what do you think what I should get? If I print this one, I'll just get a name. So I'm deleting this part. Can anyone just predict what I will get?
It will be S, first new line H,
H.
new line L, E, new line L.
Yeah, right. So I will go to each element of the name string and it will point at each one. So first it will point at capital S, then H, then E. So because these are independent print statements, everything will be printed on new line. So it will be SHELDON, right? And then it will come outside, it will print N. That is clear? Hello, it is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll write one more code, but I'm not going to explain the code. What I'll do, I'll write the code, I'll execute the program, and you guys have to tell me what is this code is all about. So I'll write if here inside a for loop. I'm writing if I is equal to E. So E, if I is pointing at E, mean whatever character I is pointing is equal to E, then what to do? Continue. So I'm telling the computer to continue during that time. Only for I is equal to E. All other places, I am not asking computer to execute the command called as continue. Okay, let me run this program. Then you guys have to tell me what this continue statement is all about.
Yeah. So
what happened?
continue statement is just halting the for loop there and going to the first statement, the condition of the for loop. Just going to the next, like end the for loop there and continue the for loop again.
Okay, so you're right. I'll just modify the language. The continue statement will skip that particular iteration. That is okay?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. So it's a iteration. So every time the for loop is getting executed, it's a iteration inside a loop. Okay. So when it is printing S, capital S, it is the first iteration, then second iteration. Whenever it comes to E, it will look at the if statement, which is now true. The continue statement will be executed. As soon as the continue statement will be executed, the program will go to the next loop directly instead of going to the rest of the block. So rest of the block has print I, which is simply ignored. So whenever you encounter a word continue, rest of the part of the block is skipped for that particular iteration. But the things will continue. That is okay. So it is continue is clear to everyone. What is the use of continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'll replace the continue with another statement called as break. Now tell me what will happen.
So would it stop after E?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is like a breaking out of the loop or breaking out of this particular sequence. So break statement means stop the work you are doing. So it says you are in the loop, stop it as soon as you encounter E. So S and H is printed, but as soon as I becomes E, the statement break says stop it. So it has stopped. Okay, then it goes outside and prints the end. This is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Okay, so now let's go to the PPT. So for loop we are just done. So I'm skipping that part. This also we are done. Name is equal to single quotation Rohit and how to print that. And continue statement also we are done. Okay, and we're done with the break also. Okay, so now there is an exercise. So we still got 5 minutes. So I'll just do this exercise quickly. There is write a program to ask the user to enter an integer number and display the sum of integers of this number. So suppose your user has entered 45, the output should be 9, which is the sum of 4 plus 5. That is clear?
Yeah, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we want this type of program. We want to create this type of program which will just calculate sum of all the integers in a given number. Okay, and we are going to ask user to enter the number. So can anyone tell me how we can go about?
Yes, sir. Just take this input as a string first, then using a for loop iterate over the string and use int type data type casting over this string to make each and every variable as a integer and then add them.
Okay, so one student has written, sir, you forgot to start the recording. No, I am already streaming in the YouTube. Okay. Oh yeah, you are right. Sorry, you are right. So let me write the program here. Let me make a new file. So here, program to add integers. Program to to display addition of, or sorry, sum of integers in a number. So when we say number, basically we are saying is that what kind of number? An integer number. So first we'll say that number is equal to, now here we are not going to convert to integer, right? Am I right? We'll just take a input.
Just take string.
Just take a string, right? So we'll say user.
Sir, you are using the like comment. There are 2, 3.
Oh, yeah. So enter integer number, right? This is okay. Good.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Then we'll say for. Now number is basically a string, right? So we can use for I. Now you can use anything else. You can use here m also. For m in number. Now this will, number colon. Now we'll say what? Say j is equal to int of m.
Int of m.
Yeah. And let me write here sum equal to 0. We have to define sum is equal to 0, right? And then you'll say sum is equal to plus
equals j.
Done. We will come outside and there is a problem. See, for loop went one line. Yeah, so I'll say print sum of integers is sum. Is it okay? Hello. So let's run the program. So now user is asking for an integer. Let's take 4, 5, 8. So output should be 4 plus 5 is 9 plus 8 is 17. The sum is integer is 17. This is clear to everyone? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next time what we'll do now, in the next lecture, we are going to learn about the something called as functions. Once we are acquainted with the functions, what we will do is that we'll plot a trajectory of the projectile motion. So what we'll do, we'll take out projectile motion in a fired in particular angle, and we'll see what is a path or trajectory of that projectile. For that, we need to know the skill of drawing the graph in the program, using the program, which is I have not taught to the Thursday, Friday, Saturday batch. So I'm keeping that session on Saturday. So once we are done with the functions, we'll go and look at that particular thing. Okay, so I will stop here for the day. Okay, let me